Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a worm, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
Your ass is next.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
You can kill all the black folks you want, baby, but you will not kill the freedom of black folks. It's coming. We're going to get it. We fought every one of your damn lousy wars, baby, and you give us nothing. Now the war is going to be here, but we're going to be free. Now you kill you want to, but we kill too.
Your ass is next.
I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Indeed, she isn't. And boy, I can't wait to see the full video. If y'all haven't seen your vice president, she had a little soiree, a little shindig, a little hip hop hooray at the VP residence. Had some hip hop luminaries there. I'm gonna have to call them hip hop clownaries because that's what they are. Maybe not hip hop luminaries, maybe hip hop luminaries. But anyways,
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
it's good to be back here behind this microphone, ready to talk my piece, because that's what I do. With the Villager on Deck, I talk my piece. I talk the truth and I talk my piece. And right now, I just want to get something off my chest because two individuals have really been at black men for a while now. Tarana Burke, W. Kamal Bell. When it comes to the Me Too movement, they have been, obviously, Tarana is the founder, but W. Kamal Bell is a card-carrying member of the Me Too movement. And for anybody that supports the Me Too movement, I have no shade to throw at you in particular. But where these two are concerned, they make it their business to come at black men where the Me Too movement is concerned. And Tarana's had her hooks in a few of the Caucasus individuals, the Caucasus predators, as she should. She's the founder of the Me Too movement. But where she's really thrown a lot of shade over the years has been at black men. W. Kamal Bell, he took it upon himself. He took it upon himself to attack Dr. William Cosby. And I think it was really just to sell books, to get him some shows, get him some shine. You know, he's really not that funny of a comedian. So he really kind of needed to do something else. And I get it. But Danny Masterson, formerly of the 70s show, and then because they didn't have no damn originality, the 90s show, has been convicted of rape. Not one, but two women. Not one, but two. Oh yeah, we're gonna do Umar tonight. Not one, but two. There were three allegations, but he was convicted of two. I'm not quite sure what happened to the other. Didn't do the research, didn't even care. What I cared about was he was not convicted, but one, but two of rape. And ain't nobody talking about it. Well, the news people are talking about it, but W. Kamal Bell ain't said nothing about it. Tarana Burke ain't said nothing about it. And now he's been sentenced to 30 years. 30. And how come Tarana ain't talking about it? How come W. Kamal Bell ain't talking about it?
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
I might play that once, twice, or 10 more times. What up, Free? Yeah, we here. And Danny Masterson, I don't really know him as an actor because I wasn't a real fan of the 70s show. I mean, I was probably more of a fan of people that were on the 70s show, but I wasn't a real fan of the 70s show. So, you know, I think he played a character called Hyde. Ain't that the name of his character? His character was named Hyde. And, you know, that show ran for several years, and then they came back and did the 90s show. I don't know why they didn't do the 80s show, but they did the 90s show. And I never saw any episodes of that either. But that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is where we are right now. And right now, Danny Masterson's sitting on 30 years, but the people who generally come at people that are convicted or maybe accused, because some of these people that have been accused have never been convicted, that Tarana has gone after, that W. Kamal Bell has gone after. Maybe they were convicted and their convictions were overturned, their sentences were overturned. You know, W. Kamal Bell didn't come back and apologize to Dr. William Cosby after Dr. William Cosby was released from prison. No, he just got his little shine on it. he got his little shine, and he went on about his business. Sold him about 2-3 books, got him a few comedy gigs, but it didn't move his needle none. Do you ever hear of W. Kamau Bell? When is the last time you seen W. Kamau Bell? And Tarana Burke, like I said, she done ran at everybody. I done heard her say shit about Michael Jackson. She says stuff about R. Kelly. All the ones that, you know, everybody knows. And then the Me Too hashtag gets put on everything every time you see anybody black accused of anything. But only those select few celebrities that are on the Caucasus end have been attached to the Me Too movement. So for anybody that's out there that's a victim of sexual violence, this is no shade on you. We are literally coming at W. Kamau Bell and Tarana Burke tonight because they are church mouse quiet on Danny Masterson getting sentenced to 30 years. Kai Stone, how you doing today? It's always good to have you here on the live, Kai. Tell you, I've known you for a bit, and so to have someone have the same name as my granddaughter, and then I met someone else who had the same name as my grandson, I'm just running into these names, and these names are beautiful to me. Kai, Caleb, they're just beautiful to me. Yeah, Free. Well, you might not have to hide him now that he's been convicted and they made him surrender immediately. They didn't give him no time to put his affairs in order. They just said, we need you now. We need you now, Mr. Masterson. His wife just sat there in court crying. She sat there in court crying, knowing that her husband was a rapist. And you know who I've really got some heat for right now is the Church of Scientology, because they blocked this a long time. The victims were members of the Church of Scientology. Danny Masterson was a member of the Church in Scientology, and they blocked the victims from going forward. See, that's where that organized religion component comes in. Where they think they're putting God first. You don't put God in front of no sexual violence victim. You don't put nobody in front of no sexual violence victim. I wonder if W. Kamau Bell is a Church of Scientology member, or if Tarana Burke is a member of the Church of Scientology, because why ain't they saying nothing about this? They are quiet. They are quiet. Telling you, Free, all these things gonna hit, and I'm gonna be right here ready. You quite welcome, Kai Stone. You quite welcome. I'm still on punishment on Facebook. Can't share the stream nowhere, and it's all good. It's all good. I think I actually went to appeal, and then it said that I'll be done Wednesday. So I think that's tomorrow, right? Wednesday, yeah. So I'll be done tomorrow, sometime during the day. It's all good. I thought I was on punishment longer than that. I think I looked at an old restriction. I've been put on punishment so much. I looked at an old restriction. But it is what it is. So I can't share the stream out. So it's only going to be a handful of us in here. A lot of people don't know I go live unless I get in their particular pages that they frequent in. And we already know how YouTube doing it. YouTube making sure ain't nobody looking. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been unsubscribed. And when I told them to come on over to the Villager on Deck, they're like, okay. And then, I get 4 or 5 people, they But they were like, you know, I lost my subscription to Freeman Media. I wasn't subscribed to Freeman Media anymore. How you lose your subscription? I ain't going around unsubscribing, folks. That's YouTube. You right. If you telling the truth out here, you gonna get grounded. You gonna get grounded. But that's okay. Because there's me and then there's them.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
And I'm not falling for the okie doke. And anybody that listens to me ain't falling for the okie doke. So it's all good. But yeah, these two, they up. And Tirana, you know, I just have a lot to say about Tirana just because I can. And she really kind of hit her stride a few years back. Let me bring up that NPR article about Tirana. Tirana Burke. She was really out there during that time. What was that? Was it Harvey? I think it was Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. Give me one quick second. Yeah, she was something else. She was something else. And where she got out here in the game, you know, Me Too founder Tirana Burke says Black girls' trauma shouldn't be ignored. See, she plays the race card when she needs to, but she's not always fair to her race. In 2017, the New York Times published a story chronicling decades of sexual harassment abuse against Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. Less than 3 years later, a Manhattan jury found Weinstein guilty of rape. Activist Tirana Burke, the founder of the Me Too movement, sees a stark contrast in the timeline of Weinstein's case and that of singer R. Kelly, who dodged accusations for more than 25 years. No, he didn't. They had been trying to bring R. Kelly up on charges for a ridiculous amount of time. He wasn't dodging anything. He was making records, getting Grammys, American Music Awards, going on tours, and never stopped his sexual exploits until the very end. He wasn't dodging anybody. He didn't go to Europe. He didn't flee to Europe like many Caucasian individuals have when they've been brought up on charges or suspected on charges. R. Kelly was right here in America, dodging. We are socialized to respond to the vulnerability of white women. And it's a truth that is hard for some people to look in the face, and they feel uncomfortable when I say things like that. But it's true. There's a stark difference in what it takes to get the attention around Black women and girls. And was she talking about herself here? Who was she talking about? I mean, these are truth and talking points that we already know. They don't care about Black girls when they get sexually assaulted. Those stories generally get swept right up under the rug. We already know this. But see, she's got an agenda. She's got a movement. She's got a nonprofit she needs to keep up. Burke has spent decades listening to Black and minority communities. You spent decades listening to Black and minority community. Who are the other minorities you was listening to? Or you ain't spent decades. You might have been since 95. What you talking about, Tirana? She originated the phrase and concept of Me Too in 2006. That's not decades. It's not even 2 decades. As a way for victims of sexual violence to share their stories and connect with others. In 2017, when the Me Too hashtag went viral in response to the Weinstein, I forgot how you pronounce his name, allegations, Burke worried that her work would be erased. Why would your work be erased? How come all these people are out here concerned about their work being erased? We just talked about Mel Tucker a couple days ago, and that person was worried about her legacy being erased. Why are we so concerned about things being erased? And they're all about the same thing. It's a unique situation. Why would she be erased because her hashtag went viral? Wouldn't that elevate you? Wouldn't that actually put you more out there versus being erased? She was also concerned that the women telling their stories on the internet were opening themselves up to harm. No. Talking about it is a good thing. Then they can be protected. She somewhat worries about things that just aren't necessary. But I'm sure that's part of her guise. I thought, God, these people are going to cut and bleed all over the internet, which is the very worst place to be exposed and vulnerable in the moment, she says. Yeah, that's old biddy. That's old biddy thinking. The internet can actually help you and help someone else who might have not talked. She was so ass backwards with this query. But as she read the Me Too stories women were sharing, she was blown away. Burke shifted her perspective to the 30,000 foot view and saw something much bigger than she had ever imagined unfolding. Yeah, she saw the bag. That's what she saw. She saw the bag. You can't tell me that her eyes didn't get as wide as, well, I ain't even gonna go there right now. I ain't gonna go there. But we're gonna talk about it. She also realized that in order to fully help women heal, she needed to tell her own Me Too story. She does that in her new memoir, Unbound, the story of my liberation and the birth of the Me Too movement. You know there had to be a book to sell. There had to be a book to sell. Nonprofit donations and books to sell. That's what they good at out here now. That's what's really popping. That's who's getting the bag out here. And sometimes it's rightful for some type of, situation like this, but I think that's being a little bit greedy when you put your victimization in front of everything else. And I believe some of these people are putting being victimized in front of everything, and they're getting the bag. That's their main thing. They're out here getting the bag. Good evening, Dr. Cynthia. See? You see what YouTube's doing? This woman was not down for brothers. Those white girls took her and left her for crumbs. Yes. She doesn't talk about that. She doesn't talk about how the Me Too hashtag was elevated by other people and they ran with it and left her with nothing. She has been against the brothers many a times. But the shame comes from not being able to protect yourself, and then the shame of breaking the rules. When we're children, it's sort of cut and dry. You're either good or you're bad. There's not really an in between. And when you're given a message over and over and over and over again, it says, don't let anybody touch your private parts. Those are nasty things. Those are fresh things. Those are things that fast girls or bad girls do. And you find yourself in a situation at a very young age. That just sounds like good upbringing to me. You're either one or the other. You're either good or you're bad. And there's a lot of shame attached to that. Not if it's articulated the right way. If parents talk to young girls about protecting their bodies and using their bodies as a temple, elevating their bodies to not just be spread around it's not a either or situation. You put yourself in a more of a royalty status that people just don't get to touch that because it's special. Doesn't make you a good or bad situation. She took a lot of this stuff the wrong way, which let me in on some things that I just didn't think were true what she was saying. It opened my mind up to the idea of that, first of all, that this could happen to other people. I didn't even think about the other girls. When I read it, I thought, even then, it's just me and Maya Angelou. What? Because this is somebody else that this happened to. So she didn't think about nobody in the world being sexually assaulted, but her and Maya Angelou. Come on now, girl. You really putting it on thick. But she was trying to sell that book. She was trying to sell that Unbound. And it made me wonder why God would let something like this happen to a good girl. Because in the book, I'm perceiving her as different than me. She was a good girl. She listened to her grandma. She did what she was supposed to do. She did her work. She got her chores. Why did this happen to her? It was such a beautiful thing for me to have that connection. I just felt alone to have a story in this world that I could connect to. On doing a lot of the self-work to realize that the reason why she was abused had nothing to do with her. This is a tad bit because I mean, oh, you talking about her book? Yeah. So I read somewhere that it's not her responsibility. Yeah. She said it. It's been a while back that she said it. I don't know the exact source to get that from, but she did say it. Said it's not her responsibility to go after white men. Okay, well, why you go after black men? She done talked about Michael. She done talked about R. Kelly. She done talked about Bill Cosby. And the only time you generally hear Me Too and Tarana Burke and white men involved is when somebody else has brought the allegations out. That's what I'm saying. So that's how I felt about it. Yeah. That's how I felt about it. But she ain't said nothing about Danny Masterson. But of course, it's not her duty. It's not her responsibility to go after white men. Nah, it sure isn't. It's not your duty, Toronto. We don't expect you to step outside yourself like that. You know, when you do the work, when you do the work of white supremacists, you're going to feel that way. It's not your chore. It's not your duty. It's not your job to go after white men. But who made it your job to go after black men? Who did? Because right now, you ain't saying nothing, and W. Kamal Bell ain't saying nothing. It's really high out here. It's really high out here, Dr. Cynthia. The humidity be high, the misandries be higher. So much misandry out here. But I guess we should come to understand that that's just the way it's going to be out here. And I can look at misandry on one side, and then I could look at buck brokenness on another side.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
Yeah, W. Kamal Bell. I mean, he'll never, ever be able to get me back where I think he's somebody that I need to be listening to, except when he comes at brothers, because he came at Dr. Cosby. I had to listen to him, and I wondered his reasoning. Still ain't figured it out. Peace and love, Empress Goddess. Peace and love. She and the other tools will be replaced by the black immigrants. Oh, yeah. They walking right into their erasure. They walking right into their erasure. They don't want to talk about bringing us together. But boy, I bet you go get them talking about migrants. I bet you they could talk your ear off. I'm telling you.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
But W. Kamau Bell, he was a different kind of fool. You know, when W. Kamau Bell decided to step out there on that landscape and go at Dr. Cosby, I said, you know, it takes a real special somebody to think he really doing something. I am, sis. I am doing really well. Hopefully you are doing well too. And then when he went at him and Dr. Cosby ends up getting out of prison, and he wouldn't even give the man an apology. How do you trounce the man? How do you put all that venom on the man's name? And then all of a sudden, when Dr. Cosby walks out of jail, you ain't there to say, oops, maybe I was wrong about Dr. Cosby. Now, he ain't funny. And there's really no other reason to like him. He's not funny. He's not insightful. Nothing. Brother Emmanuel, what's good with you? But yeah, he did that thing too. He got on NPR and got to acting silly, talking about Dr. Cosby's legacy is a third rail conversation we need to have. W. Kamau Bell is ready. He's absolutely another tool, Dr. Cynthia. Absolutely another tool. Comic. And I say comic very loosely because he's not very funny. W. Kamau Bell takes Bill Cosby's fall from America's dad to sexual predator personally. Why did he take it personally? Has anybody ever asked him why he took it personally? Maybe I'll find out as I'm about to read this, because I really ain't even read this. But I knew I could get up here and talk against these clowns just because of the way they've talked against black men. And I'm not talking about any black man that's been tried and convicted and he's guilty of being a sexual predator. But I'm talking about just coming at black men in general. Not like they've come at Danny Masterson, because they ain't came at Danny Masterson at all. Bell grew up in the 1970s watching Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, picture pages, and the stand-up special, Bill Cosby himself. He says that when the Bill Cosby Show debuted in 1984, it felt revolutionary. Here was the top-rated sitcom about a black family that all of America could relate to. As a black person, we are still and always have been under a deficit of role models who are promoted to stardom. It doesn't mean that we don't have them in our communities, but as far as America allowing them to take the public microphone and be celebrated, we're not represented well. Yeah, and then there's you. And then there's you, who when you do get elevated, you talk against black men. clown ass.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
But Bill Cosby's TV persona, I shouldn't have tried to drink that and talk at the same time. Bill Cosby's TV persona as a funny, lovable dad who just wanted to do good in the world was just that, a persona. Really? Bill Cosby's TV persona was just a persona? This man's giving over $100 million away to all kinds of organizations, done all type of community work, spoke for free everywhere, done a bunch. He did more for Black America than you have, W. Kamau Bell. How dare you? You ain't did nothing for Black America but darken it. Probably. It probably was. It probably was. They probably was like, W. Kamau Bell, we need you to get out here and we're gonna sick you on Bill Cosby. You game for it? You game to W?
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
He answered. He's like, all I need is a dozen biscuits and let me get to work. About 60 women have come forward, most of them lying, accusing the comedian of drugging them and raping them. In 2018, Cosby was convicted of 3 felony counts of aggravated indecent assault. Though that conviction was overturned on a technicality. How about he didn't do it? How about they came over, hung out with Bill, did some drugs? Because if they could have kept Bill in prison, trust me, they would have. If they could have got Michael Jackson in prison, trust me, they would have. Bill Cosby's fall is about more than just the fall of a funny comedian, Bell said. It's just like, why? Why do you have to be this guy? Why did this have to be the case? Because you got a lot of people out there to tell a lot of stories, and they come forward 40, 50 years after they think things happen, say things happen. I mean, some of the stuff was 50 years old. 50 years old. The allegations were 50 years old. Really, dog? Really, dog? In the 4-part Showtime documentary, We Need to Talk About Cosby, Bell grapples with Cosby's tainted legacy and his larger betrayal of the Black community. So Bill Cosby's betrayed the Black community, but you haven't, W. Kamau Bell?
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
I really do believe that for anybody who was sort of alive during the height of Cosby's power, or for the rise of his power, it's a third rail conversation, Bell said. If you're Black and you were alive for that, you're just adding more electrified rails to the conversation. I think it's hard for anybody because, as we say in the series, he was America's dad during the Cosby Show. Not Black America's dad, America's dad. Bell hosts the CNN documentary series United Shades of America. I don't think he still hosts that. I think that got canceled because the ratings sucked. In which he travels to communities around the U.S. talking to people about the challenges they face. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we don't need to do this anymore. We got Van in the van. Let's just put Van in the van. Seeing that Van got knocked off his nonprofit. Van gonna get back in the van, get to touring again. On watching the Cosby Show as a kid and relating to the family, I was a part of the Huxtable family. See, that's where that delusion comes in. I never thought I was a part of the Huxtable family. Let me be honest. I love Bill Cosby. I love Bill Cosby Show. I love Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. I love the I Spy. I loved all them shows. But the one thing that I didn't do, I didn't think I was a Huxtable. The Huxtables lived in a nice big ass brownstone. I grew up in subsidized housing. It wasn't like we had a raggedy house, but I didn't grow up in a brownstone in Brooklyn. I grew up in a townhome in Ann Arbor. And I watched the Cosby Show every single week, and I never felt like I was a part of the Cosby family. I was Vanessa's age, but of course, I felt like Theo. What, dyslexic? A little slow? Clumsy with women? I mean, what made you feel like you was Theo? You got a bad haircut? Theo always had bad haircuts on the Cosby Show. I don't know why they couldn't get Theo's hair right. He always had bad haircuts. You could just imagine yourself, and I think of a lot of kids my age did in that family, because there was some sort of kid, there was some kid you were sort of close to in age to, whatever. And this show looked like it was welcoming you in. No, it looked like a sitcom, and you laughed and it went off and you turned the channel until different worlds start coming on. As much as it got criticism for reflecting the average black family, whatever that means, there was black music, there was black art, Cosby putting Sammy Davis Jr. in roles. He put a lot of people in roles. He didn't just put Sammy in roles. He put a lot of people in roles. He put a lot of black actors that couldn't get roles in sitcoms, dramas, or whatever. He put a lot of people in play. Most of them kids would not have become actors, let alone famous, had it not been for Bill Cosby. See, he's up here minimizing what Dr. Cosby did. Bill Cosby put people on. He put a lot of black people on. But W. Kamau Bell's trying to minimize his legacy. Punk.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
It just feels so black in the way that black people can relate to, and that the people who aren't black just sort of go, oh, this is good. I enjoy this. We didn't give a fuck who enjoyed the Cosby Show. Black people love the Cosby Show. We didn't give a fuck who else enjoyed it. If just black people watched the Cosby Show, it was number one. It would have been number one. You trying to make it seem like because there was white watchers that it made it number one. No, black folks dictated the Cosby Show being number one. Sissy.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
See, I don't even flex when see people, man, when people start talking that stupid shit like, oh, we needed white acceptance on this one. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. I have to remember that, Dr. Cynthia. He is absolutely a tool. Oh, yeah. I know, Black Seed. Ain't nobody talking about it. Ain't nobody talking about the MASTERSON 2 movement. Not from the Me Too movement. W. Kamau Bell, silent. Tarana Burke, silent. Ain't heard shit from none of them. I mean, and I want to know why. I want to know why they ain't saying shit. Why aren't they saying anything? If you say Danny Masterson right now and start looking for some Me Too motherfuckers, all you gonna get is this. And then when you got on Bill Cosby forced the integration of stunt work in Hollywood on how Bill, man, what does that got to do with anything? He was a trailblazer. We know this. But you want to dog the man, then try to salute the man at the same time? Apparently the story goes that on the set of I Spy in the first season, Cosby gets to the set and sees a white man being painted black, and they called it painting down. But this white man was literally being painted black, not being painted brown, like the color of Bill Cosby being painted black. And he asked, what's going on? And they say, you're stunt double for the stunt. That's what we're doing today. That's your stunt double. This white man being painted black. Apparently, Bill Cosby sees the stunt man being painted black and says, if you don't get me a black stunt man, I'm not going to work on this show anymore. I'm done. Talk about his power. Yeah, talk about his power. Don't just talk about blackface. Blackface. See, that's the problem. He just wants to talk about blackface, but that's just because he is a blackface.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
And this is a story that has been told specifically by Noni Robinson, whose family was in the stunt industry, and she was working on a documentary about the stunt industry and how Bill Cosby revolutionized it and changed it in that one act. Bill Cosby at that point, he's new to TV show, feels like he has enough power or intestinal fortitude to go, I refuse to be on this show if you don't find me a black stunt performer. And they did. That's called confidence. That's called American freedman life. Not like you, W.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
On Cosby understanding the importance of having black people behind the camera. See, now he wants to bring up all this stuff, man. All this stuff. Tried to crush this man worse than he had already been crushed before. Doing a 4-part series to just drag his name in the street. But now, Bill is out and W. Kamau Bell is down. Especially once he got the Cosby Show, he understood it at a time when nobody understood this and people still don't understand this, that the true power is behind the camera. And that diversity on camera doesn't mean anything if you don't have diversity behind the scenes. Well, how come you're not trying to work behind the scenes, W. Kamau Bell, and bring better black images to the screen? No, you just looking for the next black man, woman, or child to drag. And also on a black show, you want to have black people behind the camera because it will make the show be authentic. You'll feel it on camera. Black makeup artists know how to do makeup for black people better than white makeup artists do. So a lot of people in Hollywood who are working and have worked for 30 years can point to them being hired on The Cosby Show as the beginning of their career. This man did so much just to have his name and his reputation dragged through the mud by the likes of W. Kamau Bell. What you say, Empress? I was just listening to a speech on liberals and conservatives by Malcolm X, speaking on this very same thing. It's funny how things that Malcolm and Martin spoke about 50 years ago still have validity? You said felicity. Maybe felicity is the word, but I would say validity there. But that's just me. Absolutely. I totally agree. Many of the things they spoke 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Yeah. Well, definitely it was actually 60 years ago because 50 years ago, that would just put us at 73 and they were both gone by then. They had both been murdered by then. They had both been murdered by 73. So it couldn't have been 50 years ago. It must have been 60 years ago because they had been killed. Government killed them. But yes, you are exactly right. This is why you got to be really careful dealing with liberals, especially the Caucasus type. I don't mind a white liberal, but they got to know where they have to be with things with me. I don't need no saviors. I don't need no saviors. So don't be trying to come in here and save shit. You can be an ally. You can help with the movement. But don't try to step in front of me on my own movement. Absolutely. I'm with you. I'm with you. But they tried to kill the man's reputation as they've tried to kill other people's reputation. I just heard that they trying to come back with Michael Jackson stuff again. I mean, what are they trying to do here? This man has been gone. And it's the same accusers. They broke asses just need to go get a job. The money done ran out. Little money they had done ran out. They done snorted it all up. Didn't learn how to flip a hustle. Now they want to come back and bring the charges up. They're reliving the trauma all over again. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Reliving it all over again. They are. That's why they took Martin after he woke up and said he was coming for that check. See ya. See ya. You know. Malcolm and Martin was good as long as they was just talking to the Negroes. They was talking to the colors, everything was good. But when they started bringing folks together after Malcolm went to Mecca, after Martin saw what he had put his people through and was like, you know what? There's a lot of broke ass white folks out here too. Maybe I just pull all the poor people together, black, white, Jews, Gentiles, Protestant, Catholic. Remember all that? He said that in 63, but when he said it in 67, it wasn't the same tone. Martin Luther had a different tone, Jasmine Virgo. And when he had a different tone, they was like, we got to go get rid of him. He's doing that same thing that nigger Malcolm did. Malcolm came back over here talking about bringing everybody together, and then pow, see you later. They did the same thing to Dr. King. Did the same thing to Dr. King. They did. They sure did. That's why you got to stand on your two. You got to stand on your two. You got to stay on your square and don't let nobody compromise you out here. I am doing well, Jasmine Virgo. I am doing well. Trying to keep up with this thing a little bit, you know? It's the 12th of the month. I think I got about 4 or 5 streams, maybe a few more in. I'm not sure exactly how many I got in. Really trying to stay ahead of this thing. And there's a lot of news in the cycles, so I'm creating a lot of different content. And where we're at tonight, Jasmine, we're here tonight because Kamal Bell and Tarana Burke ain't said shit about Danny Masterson being sentenced to 30 years for raping not one, but two. Not one, but two. Umar, not one, but two women. He raped 2 women. And the only reason it took this long, since Tarana Burke wants to talk about dodging accusations, the Church of Scientology was dodging accusations. They didn't want the women to bring the charges forth. They was trying to settle out of court with the women. How you gonna do that? You a church. You a church. They tried to give one of the victims $400 grand to stay quiet. Spot on, Dr. Cynthia, spot on. So, W. Kamal Bell, Tarana Burke, they just been out here wilding all these years. All these years. But when it comes down to it, when it really, really comes down to it, They only wilding on us. They don't run at Caucasian folks the way they run at us. And you know why? Y'all know why. Because y'all wouldn't be here if you didn't know why. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. I've heard many a query about that, Empress, and I don't know how close Bill Cosby was to buying NBC. I don't know for sure. But I had heard that there was something in the works, that he was trying to put something together, but I don't know for sure. So I've never really challenged it or even endorsed it. I'd love to know how close he actually got. I mean, were they looking through his financials? Were they saying, hey, Bill, you got enough here, you know, or maybe you need to get a investor with you, solidify the deal more. But no, from what I always saw, he always had great control of his business, of his philanthropy. And when all these accusations start coming out, Bill really didn't waver much. I mean, 40, 50, 60 years. I mean, he probably was even thinking some of the stuff was just going to get thrown out. Yeah, Judge Brown did speak on it. Sure did. But getting dragged in the mainstream media did a number on Dr. Cosby. They snatched some years off his life, putting him inside, up there eating a whole bunch of processed food. Bill didn't eat all that junk on the outside. He didn't have no special dietary coming in. We know that would have been news too. They treated him like a common criminal, in which he definitely was not common. It's all good though. He's home now. Absolutely. Straight up propaganda. But to anybody, like I said, that has incurred sexual predatory behavior against them, this is not about you. But for the ones who tried and the ones who lied, yeah. But man, we approaching an hour and there ain't much on this. I actually got to go read some more stuff on this thing right here. Because, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Tuck done talked. Tuck done talked. And what I brought out a couple of days ago about Tuck, oh, I'm gonna have a whole lot more coming. Because Tuck ain't coming. Tuck already came. But we can still play his song.
Coming, drop it 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 coming.
Man, Tuck came and went. So I looked at this was an eye-opening situation for me, and it should be an eye-opening situation for others. But now he has spoken up. Now there's been a rebuttal from the accuser So this is going to get a little nasty, probably all the way up into this hearing time. It don't matter. He already been fired. He ain't getting his money. Only thing he fighting for is hopefully to salvage some of that money, but that money is gone. They had a morals clause in his contract, and he is not moral. He's done. Dr. Cynthia, good night to you. We're about to get on up out of here too, because I didn't need to stay in here all night talking about W. Kamau Bell and Tarana Burke, the ambassadors of Me Too. But I'm waiting for him to talk about Hyde. They ain't talking about Hyde. Don't run and hide. You can't run and hide. I need you to talk about Hyde. Why ain't you talking about Hyde? I know why you ain't talking about Hyde.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
But yeah, we're going to be back. We're going to be back to talk about Tuck and his saga. And I'm going to talk about some other things that are going on in the sports landscape, but not particularly about the scores. Y'all know I don't really get into the whole scores, and they got ESPN for all that. But a lot of football coaches and other coaches out here have gotten a bad rap because truly they are known for coaching. But coaches are not just coaches anymore. They do so much more. Some of them are great mentors, father figures, and all types of things. And that's another reason they don't really like Deion Sanders, because Deion Sanders is the total package. He's a father, he's a coach, he's a mentor, he's a promoter. They don't like that. They just want Prime to coach football. But when Prime played football, did Prime just play football? No. Prime did a lot of stuff. And that's what he's doing with coaching. And he's bringing this coaching game up to his speed, because it's been a little slow. But now that they got the NIL stuff involved, they got the transfer portal involved, this is prime time. I know they're going to probably take some bumps in these next few weeks over here. They'll probably take a couple bumps. That's okay. Because as long as the team stays unified and Prime stays positive and his coaches stay up on it, they're going to be okay. I wasn't expecting much from them this year wins-wise, but I was expecting him to put the program together, get a buzz about the program, but he done got more than a buzz. They got tickets out there, $400 a piece at the Colorado game. $400 a piece. That's Prime. That's Prime. So yeah, y'all be good. Like I said, we didn't do a whole lot out here. We're going to be revisiting Tuck. I'm going to be talking more about coaches and things that they do. I mean, because look at coaches like this. Jim Harbaugh, he been suspended for the first 3 games of the Michigan football season. And instead of him sitting at home, chewing on his lazy boy chair because he can't be on the sidelines, he been on the chain gang at his 10-year-old's football game. And the same day, at the same time, his team is playing, but he can't be there. So he's like, well, I might as well go to my son's game. Since I can't go to my game. Yeah. Sometimes coaches are more than coaches. Appreciate your Empress. Appreciate your free. We just got to figure out why they so quiet. Why y'all so quiet? Come on, W. Tarana. Why y'all so quiet? Nothing? Come on, man. Y'all got to get better. If y'all gonna be this quiet, maybe y'all should just stay quiet. and just don't say nothing else. We know what you're here for, and we know you're going to get them.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
But playtime is over.
You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a worm, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you.
Buttermilk biscuits, I enjoy it.
Anybody out there that wants to talk about a black man, but don't want to talk about no other man,
Go, y'all.
one love.